this shot, you get a feeling of almost you having gotten up from your seat and come forward to take a closer look at me. Now this kind of a shot in cinema is called as a tracking shot. So you could either track in or track out. So if you start going backwards, that gives a feeling as if you have gone away. So the second type of shot that we're going to cover in this lesson is zoom in and zoom out. Now, unlike the previous shot where you track in, so the camera actually moves towards the subject. In a zoom in, zoom out, the camera stays where it is, and it only zooms into you and zooms out. So it's almost like as if you are seeing something in a wide shot, and then you've just zeroed in from where you are into something which is what you're particularly interested in. So the difference between a tracking shot and a zoom in zoom out shot is primarily the perspective. In a zoom in zoom out, the camera doesn't move, it stays where it is, just that it zeroes in or sort of zooms in to something that interests it. Whereas in a tracking shot, the camera actually moves, so you get a feeling as if you have gotten up from your seat and moved towards the subject. Another type of a shot that we will cover is focus in and focus out. Now, many times you must have seen shots where, initially the frame is completely blurred and then slowly things start coming into focus. So that is called a focus in, focus out shot. A very important dramatic use of this shot is made when you want to establish relationships between two subjects in different fields. What do I mean by fields? One is in the foreground and one is in the background. So suppose if you want to see this person in focus, so this guy is blurred, and vice versa, if you want to see this guy in focus, this guy will be blurred. Typically it's used in situations where suppose this guy is doing something and this guy is spying on him. So this guy is unaware that he's being spied on. So as a viewer, you get a third person perspective of this person watching this guy unawares. So that way you establish the relationship between him spying and he being unaware of that spying and performing his activities. Another interesting type of a shot which you often see in films is a pan shot. Now, as you can actually see right now, as I'm moving, the camera is almost like shifting its gaze. So as I'm walking from left to right, the camera is moving. As I'm walking right to left, the camera is again moving. So this is a very classic shot when you want to sort of trace or track the movement of the subject from one point to another. Isn't this a familiar shot again from movies? This kind of a shot is called a tilt up, tilt down shot. Now basically it just means that the camera is, vertically moving. In a pan, it horizontally moves. In in a tilt up, tilt down shot, it vertically moves. So it's shown, it's used. Say for example, somebody new has come to visit somebody, and that person is just trying is checking him out. So he actually looks at him from top to bottom, and vice versa. So that kind of a shot is called a tilt up, tilt down. Another interesting type of a shot that we are going to learn about is over the shoulder shot, or an OTS shot as it's called in its abbreviated form. Now, right now you can see this, that I'm being framed, through a chair. So the chair is almost playing the role of somebody watching me while I'm talking, and giving this lecture out. So I'm being framed over the shoulder of the chair. So this type of a shot is typically used when there are conversations happening between two people. So when one person is talking and the other person is listening, if you want to see who is talking, instead of just have him speak in a static situation, you go over the shoulder of the other person. So the people also get a feeling that this person is talking to somebody. So it again creates a feeling of something is happening within a certain space and a certain time, and not in isolation. So that is why an over-the-shoulder shot is very important. It establishes and reinforces relationships between different objects and subjects in a shot. Now, this is also a very familiar kind of a shot. As you can see me at a much higher level, whereas the camera, or the level of the camera, is much lower. Now, this kind of a shot is typically called a low angle shot, where you can see the person at a level which is much higher. So it gives a feeling as if that person is very powerful and very overbearing, whereas the person who is viewing him is in a much subordinate position. So typically, if you see shots where you can see somebody in a position of power, a low angle shot is used to make him look larger than life and to establish his power over his subordinate. The exact opposite of a low angle shot is a top angle shot. So here the camera is gone up, at a much higher level than the subject it is framing. So this is giving the camera the power to look down on its subject, and it makes the subject look more submissive and more subordinate as opposed to the person who's watching. So these kind of shots are typically used to shoot situations where the person is really meek and in a low position of power. So it makes him look really, really submissive as compared to the person who is watching him.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, how are you? Yeah. Okay.
Now, if you notice this sequence, our model Rebecca was performing several activities. The initial couple of activities were of a different, energy level. She walked in a haste. Then she wrote something on a notepad. Then she typed something on the computer. Then she quickly had gulped down some water. And then the last shot was, slightly opposing, in its energy level as the previous shot. So she was calmly sitting on the chair and talking over the phone. So if you see if you see all these shots together, the last one obviously stands out like an odd one out because of the energy level. So what will disturb the viewer when he's watching these shots in a sequence is the missing of some shot in between, the last shot and the series of shots that came before. So this particular shot is called the absorbing shot. So it sort of absorbs the energy levels of the previous shots, gives a kind of a stasis and a sort of a calmness, or a sort of a pause to the three shots which were of a high energy level, and then it goes on to the final shot, almost as if it's signaling a new episode or a new chapter. So this missing of this shot will always disturb the audience, because they won't have any space to switch from one energy level to another energy level.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, how are you? Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Hmm.